Hello, folks. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on East West with G and E TV. Today is one of the educational series using this summer, talking about our system before kids go back to school. Today is the last one. And it's always triggered by one book written by this man, Mr. Ken Hemmings, entitled Life is Simple, 100 Words for You to Live By. And after taking almost word by word the last 5 times, we came to a conclusion that we may stretch this whole concern to cover the society, to see what are we doing elsewhere in the same area in terms of education. So we first paid our attention to our TV. We found out that in between news and the news and the news and the news, which are who killing who, who kills who marries who gives birth to who, so on and so forth.
Right.
You fill the gaps with the competitions. Competition being either sports or those kind of reality shows, which are survival shows. So we find those groundless, we find those meaningless, except the pure purpose of entertainment. Now we decided to check what's happening inside the circle of Hollywood. Of course, when you talk about Hollywood, you talk about TV and the films as well, right? So now I'll better say the film circles inside Hollywood and to see what's happening there. So what's your overall comment about Hollywood films?
Well, I would say that they're very narrow in their purpose. I don't think there's a general purpose that is founded on value systems in most of the entertainment films. And as we've chatted about, many of the major films will have contents of violence or too much sexuality that is maybe not a good attribute for 13-year-olds or young people to see. There's the discoveries of the realities of things like sexuality and violence should be a process over a longer period of time. And there's definitely proof that children are affected by this in their own behavior then when they see that projected on screens that then present that as normal. And it's not really, there's no value judgment accompanying the film.
And on the other hand, do you think it is also a fact or a tendency that you either fill your film with those violence and the sexualities, or just leave it in blank? It's either or.
I don't think the film industry gives credit to the audience to figure out what the blank means. So I think they feel that they have to force feed you with exactly the content.
The blank means, by that I mean,
more subtle.
To some of the films, if you take the graphic away, if you take the sound effect away, everything away, right? You take the color, this 3D away, what is left?
The message
Do
is
you
blank.
see a story? Do you still see a whole story? Do you see a storyline that attracts you?
No. There is not much substance left for it. You have to project your own storyline into it.
There's nothing left, almost nothing left.
There's almost nothing left.
Take Avatar, for example, of course. And there are lots of things to hold on to, and lots of merits to be proud of. But if you take those away, though, do we still have a story?
See, the existence of all of the distractions of animation and color and music just distract from the existence of a real story that will benefit the viewers in their own life. So yes, you take those away, they're entertaining, but they're distracting from any reality in the story.
There's no story left.
There's no story left.
There's no story left.
It's just distract them so the time passes, we get the ticket and move on.
There was one time I was having this interview with a man called Amar Kashmaichak.
Okay.
And he's the founder and CEO of a Longtail Group, yes.
Okay.
He told me that how do you call filmmakers with a question.
Okay.
I said, well, how do you call them? Says, well, the answer is storytellers.
Okay.
Filmmakers equal storytellers to him.
To him.
So, because you tell stories, only you're using different alphabet,
Right.
different vocabularies,
Right.
right, to tell stories. So instead of using words, using English letters, you're using visual symbols,
Action and animation.
action and animations, right? Okay,
Yeah.
now, so you're storytellers for sure. That's a confirmation. So without story, what are you telling?
Without a story, you're telling a time-filling sequence of events to keep you visually attracted to the
Or
screen.
we could probably just take the word telling out.
Right, there's no telling. It's not storytelling.
You're demonstrating,
Right.
right?
You're demonstrating
There's
technology.
nothing telling.
The
There's
talents
nothing
of
telling
technology.
Because there's nothing telling because there's nothing to tell,
There's nothing
right?
to tell.
Like a billboard, we can just unscrew it, take the word tell out, and what should we put on? Show?
Well, they used to say there's 7 different ways of telling stories through literature.
Sure.
But in this area, there's no, they don't fit into any of the 7. Where there's a message, there's a development of story, there's a conclusion, and a purpose to it. The purpose is pure entertainment, which does not influence the behavior of the viewing audience, and it allows them to leave feeling they know more than when they walked in.
Sure. And once again, what I say is my own opinion. It doesn't represent this organization, nor does it to the show, though.
Right.
My personal opinion is concerned, as far as my personal opinion is concerned, I don't recall at this moment what the story is about, for example, Avatar. Why people go land on somewhere else rather than the Earth, and what for, and what's the ending of it, and what's the zigzag, the turns, twist?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I don't recall anything.
Yeah, there's a gentleman, Dr. Neil Postman, who kind of describes this whole active development of technology as technopoly, where essentially it says the submission of all forms of cultural life to the sovereignty of technique and technology, and it's separate from humanity, and it's where that the technology more forms the culture, attempts to form the culture rather than the people in the culture forming the value system.
What's the term?
Technopoly. It's been technopoly.
It's a monopoly, but in a technical way.
Right. And it's
technopoly.
Yes, he was a very well-known author.
It's a newly created word.
Yeah, after technology came the technopoly period. Before that was the tool period, where people use things to get the same things done.
And it is true, because you look at these kids, everybody has a gadget in their hand, and that's technology, and it's monopolizing their day-to-day life.
Make sure, I think there's sort of an assumption that's out there that if it's a technological advancement, it's better. It doesn't mean it's better. Dr. Postman always said, what is the problem that this technology solved? And then whose problem is it? If you're not affected by it, are you a fan of just the improvement where you're not impacted?
Sure.
And what other problems does it cause? For example, the animation in the film industry, I think, puts a lot of actors out of work. You've got new people doing jobs, but the Screen Actors Guild has less of their people actually physically participating in these films. And so there's always there is cost to every technological movement. There is a cost. It is not benign. There's a benefit and a cost.
After all, if you speak of on behalf of film industry, you're talking about acting, right?
Yes, sir.
So without the actor and the actress, are you still calling it acting? Or you call it performing, right? Without performers, are you still calling it performing?
I think without human interaction in the media, you're just calling it visual entertainment.
Visual entertainment.
That's all I can think of it.
Exactly. For a film, number one, supposed to tell a story, yet no story.
Yes.
For a film, supposed to be a visual art to be performed by human beings, which are not a work of human beings. And what is the definition? What do you call it?
Yeah, what do you call it? You call it passage of time. It's just sort of passage of time for entertainment purposes.
Or you call it $9.99 for a ticket, something like that?
Yeah, and 10 bucks for popcorn.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. All right. Back to my audience. As I really enjoyed this conversation. With me today is my good friend, Mr. Ken Hemmings. He's author, and he was a CPA for some time. Now he starts thinking because he thought he lived long enough to put some thoughts together.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Now we're talking about his thoughts, which is the book with the title of Life is Simple, 100 Words to Live By, which we went during the past 5 times, almost one word by word. We came to conclusion that we can stretch the concept to do an examination about a society. How are we teaching? What are we teaching our kids with? So let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll continue talking about other areas, such as jungle laws. So stay with us. We'll